Hey everybody, I'm Phillip.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are Pajamas. And we are doing an impromptu we just watched. Because we just watched Malignant. It is way later than we usually record anything.
Mm-hmm.
Before we start, spoilers ahead, obviously. And if you have not seen this yet, go check it out. Because it's worth watching. Like, we literally just finished it. The We Just Watched series is like literally, we just watched something. We just finished this a few minutes ago. And we went to the kitchen. And I'm like, do you want to do a video? Even though it is much later for us, like at least 2 hours past what we normally do videos. And you said, you were like, yes.
I made the final decision, and yes.
Yeah. The decision maker, everyone. I didn't do a reaction. Like, we didn't do reactions to it because I thought we'll just have a movie together. Just no editing, no fuss, no.
But like with one previous film that we saw, we needed to do some sort of video about it.
Yeah, I really regret not doing reactions to this. I really, really regret it. I wish we had. But yes, you can see it's starting to get dawn out. It's late for us, but wow.
Indeed, that was definitely an amazing film. I really liked the premise.
Yeah. Like, I did not see that twist coming.
Indeed. I was on the assumption that they were separate, but no, they're one and the same people.
And they did a really good job. Like, this is going to be just a stream of consciousness thing. We're not going to like go blow by blow through the movie. Like, they did a good job of it, like you're saying, make them seem like separate things. But then when they were figured out to be one, like after the jail cell scene, they did such a good job of melding both of them. And the fight scene in the police precinct, like I even wrote in my notes, I was like, the choreography and the acrobatics were so good. I thought earlier that Gabriel, the way he moved was very cool. But then to see it in action with like the sister, on the other side, like that was, I would really, really wish we'd filmed reactions to that.
Yes, it then made sense of why he moved the way that he did.
Yes, because he's moving backwards. But they did a good job of making him, because if you were there and moving, you would be adept at movement. It wouldn't be like foreign to you. It would look foreign to everyone else because it's the opposite. You're not supposed to move that way. But he was so like nimble and spry. They could just like pew, 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 like Spider-Man up walls and stuff.
Yes, it was very impressive.
Yeah.
I would agree with the officer. Never mind things like the police. You'll need the National Guard with this one.
Yeah. It's from James Wan, who's done Saw. He did The Conjuring. So it was, that's why I wrote you a couple of things yesterday, the day before. I was like, hey, TJ, let me know that Malignant is out. And hey, it's by this director. Are you interested? And you said you were. Like, I watched The Conjuring on my own because you said you weren't interested at the time. And we didn't have time to watch it at the time.
I did later see it.
Yes. And I'm glad we watched it together. That was a fun little journey. Oh, I mean, I don't know if fun is the right word, but fun as in getting to experience it together.
Exciting?
Yeah, it was just like...
exhilarating?
It was just wow. It was clever, and the twist was really satisfying. And then to see the payoff after the twist it was just like everything that happened after was just like payoff and payoff and payoff and payoff. Like, it never let you down.
Yes, I was actually glad that they showed it from her point of view.
Yes.
So that we could discover with the character what is going on in her life.
Exactly, because we weren't getting exposition without purpose. Like the scene in the jail cell where she was sitting there and she was surrounded by all those women, but then she comes to and she's not. She's surrounded by all the dead cops. Because we learned then earlier that Gabriel manifests reality for her. So she thinks she's living this happy, like, serene life, or things are okay when he's just wreaking havoc. And the fact that they're conjoined at the brain, it all makes sense, and they use the concept really well.
Yes. They share the same brain, they're different consciousnesses, but share the same brain.
Yeah. And
it isn't exactly like conjoined twins, but it's similar to the concept, except that instead of being in two separate bodies, they occupy the same body.
Exactly, yeah. Just the fact that he was, what do they call him now? Some kind of twin.
I think that he was referred to as some sort of tumor. That then later, interestingly, the doctor said it's time to cut out the cancer, which actually, yes, what he was doing is basically what cancer does.
Yeah.
It indiscriminately kills everything in its sight.
Yeah.
And it ruins one's own life like it was ruining her life.
Yeah.
Slowly, bit by bit, it takes more and more until there's nothing left of her.
Yeah.
So a very good analogy of using the word cancer.
And malignant. Because he would have been the malignant side. She would have been the benign side.
Yes.
And just, that reveal, when they show him for the first time, we both were like, I remember seeing it, we were just like, and that's why I was like, boom, why aren't we reacting to this? That'd have been so cool to have on camera.
Yes, at first I thought that they simply, well, like her stepsister said, that they had some sort of psychic connection.
Yeah, there were two different entities, as we said, that were linked somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That if they were connected maybe to the head in some way, that maybe they had some sort of psychic connection. But no, it's actually a bit more extreme, yet down to earth than that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the cool thing about it. It is like like I keep saying, wow and whoa. It was whoa, but it was a whoa that made sense. It wasn't dumb. It was a very neat concept, and executed very, very well. And as far as lore and unfolding it did a good job of world building around the situation. Even though, like, for the first half, we're like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are like two worlds melding on each other? Like, and then you find out it's because she was actually there. She was just displaced by Gabriel, but it was actually her, but it was him. It was just, and like,
we're seeing the reality, well, the worlds manifesting in front of us.
Yeah. And then her point of view, what Gabriel's doing. Like, she thinks she's in her house because that's where Gabriel put her. And she can't move because Gabriel has control. That's freaking awesome. That's such good writing.
They actually reminded me of something that does happen in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep paralysis. Consider that she was unable to move. All she could do was look and stare as this terror was happening in front of her.
Yeah.
And I know from personal experience that is definitely a description of having sleep paralysis.
Huh. That must be horrifying.
Does lead me to wonder if maybe they were inspired by sleep paralysis and then used that in some of the scenes.
Yeah, because I know there's been a couple times in our relationship that I've had to kind of, I don't want to say bring you out of it, because you can't just be brought out of it. But like, are you okay? Like, and then you come to eventually. So luckily it's few and far between, as far as I know.
I'm actually happy that since I've been with you, I've had fewer instances than I used to.
That's right. Take that, sleep paralysis demon.
Before I met you, they actually happened much more often.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that I could help with that. A little perk to being with me.
Yes, though I do sometimes worry that sometime soon, because if it happened before, it can happen again. I hope that I don't make you jerk up and hurt yourself. If all of a sudden I wake you up and I'm screaming.
Oh, God.
And I'm on all fours wondering what in the world, what happened.
Well, it's been over 6 years, so let's hope that we don't ever get to that point.
Because I actually do remember waking up and I was actually on all fours on my mattress.
Oh, wow. And there wasn't like a conjoined twin behind you that was doing nefarious things?
If there is, he certainly keeps it to himself, because
I'm glad.
Because I don't really remember anything like that.
Wow. Yeah, sleep paralysis is such an interesting concept to me. I don't suffer from it. But I am always intrigued about how the mind works and what the mind is doing in those moments.
An interesting documentary was made about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think we watched it together.
Oh, yes. You were actually the one that introduced me to it. Mm-hmm. And when I saw it, I thought, yes, this is exactly what I've been experiencing.
Yeah.
Finally, there's a name for it.
So, yeah, I bet you they were inspired by that, because it really does sound like that. You know, she was frozen, unable to move. But just the spin, the twist, like it all fits together. Like it's woven. All these different ideas are woven into this like really nice tapestry that visually is very appealing. And storytelling wise, it's very appealing. And they avoided so many tropes that I appreciated. And those are my notes. I've never seen a horror movie quite like this. And I'm a big fan of James Wan in general. It's hard to like, unless you've seen it and appreciated it, me just talking about how like just this layer and 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 this layer, like it's all just, it was like choo, 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 choo. But then it was like they all like were in symbiosis with each other. And then when the absolute reveal happened, we had this reveal about what this was, and then we had what it was doing, what it was doing to her. We had all these different reveals, but each reveal amped up not just the exposition, obviously, but amped up the storytelling and the world building they were doing. And then when the final reveal was made, it was like we had the complete sphere of everything in front of us, and they were like, and it was like, and from the scene in the police precinct on, fantastic. Like the first half of the movie, I really wasn't feeling it. It's in my notes, some issues I had. But then once everything got turned on its ear or on its head, it was like, okay, holy crap.
It's now both a slasher horror and a psychological horror.
Exactly. And exactly, I had issues with that in here, and I almost said that to a T, what you just said. My brain is just like we just finished it. So it's just like, in my mind, just like,
wow.
Yeah. I think that's how I started this whole thing, was wow. It's one of those things where it's like, a half hour from now, we'll be like, oh, I should have said this. But we react in the moment for the authentic, real, we just watched reaction. That's the reason I titled this series it is the way it is in the first place. From Doctor Who to Loki, everything we do, we just watched it. So we're going to talk about it. So you want to go to my notes?
Yes.
All right, let's go to my notes.
Phillip's notes.
There are 3 pages of notes. There are a lot of notes. So in the beginning, like they opened up the movie with like, it was Gabriel. But again, we didn't know it was Madison. Well, Emily turned around. We didn't know that. So we just saw this like, what the fuck is that thing? Because it was Gabriel, like, kapow, looked like an alien or some kind of like.
Yes, I assumed that it was that when her head bumped, it somehow triggered some sort of mental connection with this other.
Instead of a literal awakening.
When that happened, I assumed that it was more psychic than literal.
Yeah.
Which would also explain the bleeding, such as, for example, like on Fear Street, when people's noses would bleed, that similarly, the back of her head would bleed.
Okay.
Something like that.
Instead of it being Gabriel, like,
yes.
pushing. Yeah.
I wonder if that gave her any headaches.
You would think so. The husband, I assume the husband, says, how many times do I have to watch my children die inside of you? We both were just like...
she isn't the only one responsible for this happening. He's also... This actually wouldn't have happened if both of them...
And then, like, right after, he's like, oh, well, she locks the door. Good on her. And then he says, it was an accident, Maddie. That's not what an accident is, you dick.
When I saw that happening, I thought to give her some advice to discreetly pack her necessities, go to family or friends, and then get some sort of
like
restraining order.
Yeah, like that woman in The Invisible Man. Yeah, run away. But interesting, we found out later that it was actually Gabriel that was killing her unborn babies because it was feeding off of them to get stronger.
Yes, that was really what energized her.
Yeah, when we got to the end, and
it was really him all along that was ruining and taking over her life.
Because
like cancer.
Exactly, yeah. Because she finds that out, and in our time, Gabriel pulls the trigger and kills his sister, shoots her in the head. I wrote in my notes, page 3, I was like, oh shit, I thought she'd save her sister. Because I thought that was her connection. Turns out, she put Gabriel into she inverted it. So she put Gabriel into the situation that he wanted to see while she had control.
Yes, she realized that if they have the same mind and the same body, then she can do what he can do.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I was hoping that her finding that out would be a trigger or something, and it was. Again, it was just like one of those little neat little drops in the bucket that actually, like, everything in this movie meant something. There was nothing frivolous or just mindlessly put in there. Every little plot point, every little bit of exposition meant something. It was building towards something. And I appreciate that.
It harkened to the beginning when she said that she wanted to have a blood connection with someone.
Yes.
And of course, in the end, it turned out that she had that connection all along. That it isn't biology that makes a family. It's growing up and being raised by these people and with these people. That's what makes a family.
Yep. And I can speak to that from firsthand experience. That is 100% true.
Biology only makes you exist. That's
exactly. It. Yep. There's no, you don't need to tether emotion or feelings to biology. People do. Like if people are hazardous or toxic for you, cut the cord, cut them out. Biology is just that. It's happenstance. If they are leeches, if they are toxic, if they are mean, evil people, fuck them. Do you. Always. Oh, after Gabriel, well, makes you wonder, because like when Gabriel came into the house and was like attacking her and then like slammed the door and she flew against the thing. How did she do that to herself? I wrote, okay, now that poor woman definitely has a concussion. That poor thing. But now we know why. I like when the sister said about the deceased husband, I'm sorry, nobody deserves to die that way, but fuck him. I was like, yo.
And, well, he was ruining her life. She actually should have divorced him a long time ago.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not going to go on a domestic violence rant, but put yourself first. Men or women, put yourself first. Come on. There's only one of you. It's not worth it. It's not love. Moving on. Interesting subplot of the super horny, pining forensic lady for the detective guy. And then later on, when he's doing all that, he's going through all the files, and then that one guy's like, something like, I thought I was the only cute detective here or something, whatever. I don't know what he said. Basically flirting with him. I was like, everyone flirts with that detective. But honestly,
well,
can't blame them.
Yes, I was thinking, well, you saw him. How can you blame them?
Right, yeah. And then you brought up psychological to slasher. I wrote in my notes, because the first half of the movie, I just wasn't vibing with me. On a whole, I was digging certain parts, like when the things would meld and stuff like that. But once Gabriel got the coat and the weapon and had that like visage, I wrote, it went from psychological to I know what you did last summer. And I was like, but it definitely rectified itself. So yeah, if you watched it and you weren't feeling it in the beginning or in the middle, stick around. Some tropes that they avoided that I appreciated that I mentioned earlier. When Maddie told the sister what was going on, that she was seeing things, people, what's happening? Nothing. No, I'm fine. Nothing. How many times do we see that in movies? All the time. And then they went to the cops. I was like, because you would do that. Like, you sound like a crazy person, but how many times have you heard me rant in movies in general or anything? Go to the police. Tell them. Like, I'm always like, tell them. What's the matter? Nothing. You okay? Yeah. No, you're not. Fucking talk to them. And they did.
Yes, as far as they know, some intruder won't leave her alone.
Yeah. But then she went to the cops saying, I'm seeing these murders. And she told her sister, she's like, I'm seeing things. I appreciated that so much because we get it so often in movies and stuff that they don't.
Oh, yes, they may have heard of psychics, but apparently this particular police doesn't use those.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the officer that mentioned that, Regina, when I saw her, I thought that she looked so familiar. And then I figured it out. She's the medical examiner from Law & Order SVU.
Oh, I've only seen that like a few times. Good on you for recognizing somebody.
Slowly, like you, I'm beginning to remember actors and actresses from different films and shows.
Good for you, yeah. Yeah, Justin usually doesn't do that, but yeah, good job.
This was one of those rare situations in which I remembered a face.
Yeah, you're doing it too.
It comes in handy eventually.
It does.
It comes in handy when making YouTube videos.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things I didn't think was very good, nitpicky on me, when Q Detective is chasing Gabriel from the doctor's house or doctor's apartment all the way down into like the old Seattle, he knew every twist and turn to make, even if it wasn't obvious. Like there was a point where Gabriel ran down like the wood plank, made a left, ran down, already been out of sight. Detective ran down, immediately turned left, went that way. I'm like, well, how do you know which way Gabriel went? Some stuff, yes. When he sees him like going into like the window or when like he ran up to the brick, there's a hole in the brick. Well, he didn't know that the hole wasn't there before.
I'm guessing that he had extremely good hearing and could hear which way he was going, like
Maybe.
echolocation.
True, maybe. I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was
I
kind of
don't
weird.
know. Maybe they do teach that in the police academy.
And I like the scene where where they're in the police station, and the sister's like, "I knew it." Then the police lady says, "She's not a psychic, goddammit."
And, well, yes, that is true. Hypnotherapists are actual people that can be verified.
Sorry, everybody, I'm back. I had to get my water. I'm starting to slur because my glandular issue is acting up.
We left off on hypnotherapists.
Oh yeah, because she's not a psychic, goddammit. I think I slurred that, but well, it is what it is. And then there was the same detective lady says, "You're saying your killer is your imaginary friend," and I thought the one the detective just chased like all throughout fucking Seattle. He's seen it. He has bruises and sexy cuts that I need to take care of and nurse him back to health from.
Maybe they aren't very good at giving each other information about cases.
Another thing that I thought was a little there were several overlapping things to the movie Saw. Have you seen Saw? Did we watch Saw?
I think that we saw one or two Saws together.
Okay. But in the getup, like with the coat and the hair, getting my glasses, it reminded me of like the silhouette of Pigface, like with the pig mask. When it came out of the closet, the score was very Saw. Especially when she's driving towards the big hospital place.
Yes, the one that really looks like an evil hospital.
It does, yeah. And then, of course, the distorted voice, Gabriel's voice, was very reminiscent of, "I like to play a game," like that kind of thing. So, some overlap, I think. But it wasn't enough to like be like, "Oh, well, this is just hitting the same beats." It wasn't. It was just kind of like, this kind of is a little similar.
It's only similar in that it's this person's work.
Yeah.
Like when hearing a composition that sometimes when I hear it, but then I am not told the name, I think to myself, this sounds like so-and-so's work. I know his work well. And it turns out, yes, it was composed by this person.
Oh, there you go.
It's similar to that, but in visual form.
Right, yeah. One tropey thing that I didn't like at first was when the sister found all that footage in Impossibly Creepy Hospital. I was like, give all the stuff to the police. Grab the box, get the fuck out of there, go to the cops.
And I personally would have seen it first because, as you know, once something is given evidence, they'll keep it to themselves.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying once she started watching it and realized what happened, oh shit, I even wrote, holy shit, give the footage to the cops. That's what I wrote right there. Once she saw that, hit stop, hit eject, VCRs, I'm old, put it in the box, take the box to the fucking cops. You have all the evidence you need.
That was one issue that I sort of had that, thinking back on it, leads me to wonder. She had this growing behind her. Only now, at her age, is she finally going to a hospital about it? Arms don't suddenly spring out of nowhere. They take time to develop. And of course, faces also take time to develop.
Unless there's something we missed there. Like the line where the poor woman pining for a cute detective guy, she gets her phone out and starts to call 911. And she's like, why am I calling 911? I was like, awesome. When she places Gabriel in the mind prison, I wrote, I would have made like 150 cages and safes and locks and like just locked his ass in there. Like, good luck, buddy. And then at the very, very end, I thought, so she's going to jail forever now, right? She killed the entire police force. She didn't, but she did. Like, what are like the logistics of that? Like, what? It was my parasitic evil twin?
Well, it appears that the law needs to catch up with parabiology.
I guess so, yeah. That's the lesson we learned. Law. And then everything else in my notes are for my patrons over on Patreon. Overall, 2 thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it immensely. Obviously, we're doing a video well past the time we normally would. We would normally start getting ready for bed right now, but we are here shooting a video instead. Because
it was too good to simply let that become nothing more than a memory.
And also too good to let just not be anything because we didn't do reactions to it. So at least, like, rather than talk, we would have this conversation in the kitchen anyway. Let's have this conversation for everyone. to have some kind of something. So yeah, I don't know why you would have watched this far if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It was really, 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 really good. I liked it. Just well written, well acted. The acting was phenomenal. It's eye candy for everybody. So yay. Cleverly unfolded and well thought out. And cinematography was really nice too. So I forgot to mention that. Overall, yeah, I recommend it. Highly recommended.
So do I.
All right, is there anything else you would like to add? Okay. As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so I'll simply say thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Maybe a planned one or an impromptu one like this. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.